The Mandela effect is a phenomenon which I've looked at a few times. And it's a tricky one because the Mandela effect is actually a thing. But then when you also attribute that thing to shifting universes, then you're inviting yourself onto Tinfoil Tuesday. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a huge thank you to the sponsors of today's video, 15 Degree Drift Industries. Thanks, Bob. If you are looking for a way to prove the stationary nature of Earth, but then inadvertently prove its rotation, then look no further than 15 Degree Drift Industries. They will walk you through the full 3-step process of experimental failure before coming up with that famous 15 degree drift result. To be part of this wonderful opportunity, please visit 15degreedrift.com/thanksbob and use the code BUSTED. Wow. That was weird. Right, back to today's video where we'll be discussing the Mandela effect. And in particular, a YouTuber called Mandela Effect Quantum Stuff Texas Danny. And Danny seems to have discovered something about New Zealand. For those of you who aren't aware what the Mandela effect is, it's a phenomenon by which you believe something has changed compared to what you remembered it before. And it's a mass remembering. For example, Darth Vader did not say, "Luke, I am your father." He said, "No, I am your father." It's basically collective false memories and nothing more than that. However, some people out there think it's a symptom of shifting dimensions or some other nonsense. And I think this is the road that Texas Danny's going down. Let's hear him out.
Hey everybody, hello, this is Texas Danny coming to you from the Pizza Parlor in North Central Texas. Currently, today's date is Tuesday, April the 12th, 2022. It's about 3:45 in the afternoon here in Texas.
Thanks for the update, Danny.
This is a report on Australia and New Zealand and the waters between, the quantum changes that are occurring and that are happening now. This is a notification and advisory for all quantum affected in both Australia and New Zealand, all quantum affected, all Mandela affected in Australia and New Zealand about quantum movements that we are having.
Now, does this affect anyone or just certain people? How do they know if they've been affected, or is anyone affected?
We have had Melbourne move its location.
Have we now? Well, how can you prove this? Are you just expecting everyone to believe you? Or is it just that your memory's bad and you thought it was somewhere else?
In Australia. Some time ago, I noted where Melbourne was, and Melbourne has moved. Repeat, Melbourne has moved in Australia, but we have vast changes all over Australia.
You noted the position of Melbourne. What, on a map or in your mind?
Now, New Zealand is in flux right now. It's in some amazing circumstances. I would like to give credit and thanks to Ocean Girl Australia. That's right. I had seen the situation and I hadn't come up with it exactly what the situation was, but I had observed it, and I knew something was off, but she was able to focus exactly what happened. And this, let me give you a briefing on this. The entire island of New Zealand, both the north and south section, are moving.
Oh, that must be a bit scary for the residents of New Zealand. A moving island. Plan a walk and Viva la Dirt League. I hope you're okay, guys.
Currently moving. Now, in relations to those who are from the old Earth, who remember that New Zealand used to be much further north and Australia's further south. Australia used to be kind of off on just the slight northeast angle of the east coast of Australia.
The thing is, I remember New Zealand in the position that it's in now, because I actually looked at maps properly when I was younger and I remembered their locations.
Now, what has happened is the North Island has reconfigured and moved over to the southwest. Note here Auckland, which is, I've got some observation points in Auckland, New Zealand on the North Island. And this is not New Zealand, but this is kind of giving you an idea of what it used to look like on the north side as opposed to here. So take this area out right here, okay? Move this down to approximately here, and it used to be a much more north-south kind of orientation.
Nope. Take a look at these examples of New Zealand. Every single one of them showing how it looks now and how it's always looked. And here is a picture of New Zealand from space, so you can see what it actually looks like.
Well, it went from, in its relationships to the South Island, it went over and moved southwest. You see, take the pen, say this is, ignoring this for the moment, this is the South Island of New Zealand, there's Christchurch, North Island, Auckland. It moved over, where it used to be a much more north and south orientated position, and it came on over. I'd say 20 degrees, that's a rough guess.
You see, I've never thought New Zealand ever looked like that. And you can bet your bottom dollar that no New Zealander ever thought it looked like that either. But trust the man from Texas, everyone. He definitely knows.
Also, these are not size exact, but I'm just giving you, it's approximately 1,000 miles. Even though the standards are not changing on me right now, I believe we do have closings. I believe we definitely have closings. The mileage is not being adjusted and changed for it.
Well, it's actually 2,500 miles from New Zealand to Australia, and for most of recorded history, it's always been that. Well, the Pacific Plate is slowly moving both of the islands, but not in the way that Danny is suggesting.
But again, New Zealand is still moving further towards Antarctica. And I believe on the long, slow track, it's going to either come much closer to Antarctica or actually join it. And this will come in with conjunctions with the time waves. Again, we have New Zealand has reconfigured and come over, moved southwest when it used to be configured different. Melbourne used to be in a slightly different location. It's moved several miles over. We have all the changes going up to Sydney. Alice Springs is a place to note. Also Perth, also the north areas of Australia. This is just an indication of how we're going to be going and how we're going to change.
Now, are we really supposed to believe this Texan and his ramblings about Australia and New Zealand based off of his limited geography of that area? Or do we acknowledge that he is right and things are changing? I'll let you decide.
All quantum changes will update to the date they are shown.
And this is why these people will never accept that they are wrong. Because according to them, everything has changed in the past as well. So all maps have changed to match this new reality, including 50-year-old maps as well.
For example, this is now April the 12th, 2022, Tuesday. I just got April 2022. Well, if you're looking at this, say in the year, let's say 2100 exactly. Let's say it's the dawn of the 22nd century. It's the year 2100 exactly, and it's April. The maps, the information is going to update. The pictures, except for my hand drawings, should not update. They still should see the same.
Here we go, a window in. Let's wait a few years then and see if reality is different to your handmade drawings.
But these are the changes, and I believe these are because of the radius and the scope closing in. This is just one section of an Earth, one example. You could go anywhere on Earth and come up with numerous examples easy. So please note how we are changing. Keep your eye on Tasmania, and of course all of Australia, all of New Zealand. This area just to the east of Christchurch is a quantum area. That area, it used to come right up against the coast, and it came out, and it's indicative of the quantum tracks that are placed in here, and just east of Christchurch.
But why? What is the reason for adding this small peninsula? Who does it benefit?
So, again, New Zealand is going to keep tracking, and this is a quantum advisory for all Australian quantum affected, Mandela affected, all New Zealand Mandela affected, quantum affected, that we are headed further southeast, and you are all tracking, at least for New Zealand. Separate that from Australia. We are tracking towards Antarctica. Thank you very much. Texas Danny out.
What an absolute load of nonsense. Of course, we will be visiting Texan Danny again at some point. He's got an absolute bucket load of videos for us to look at. But for now, we are all done and dusted for another Tinfoil Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. It's truly is appreciated. If you enjoyed today's episode, please do consider subscribing to the channel. And if you really enjoyed it, hit that like button too. Just enough time to once again thank 15 Degree Drift Industries for sponsoring today. Remember, to be part of it, visit 15degreesdrift.com/thanksbob and use the code BUSTED. I've been Simon Dan, have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another Misconception Mini. See you then.